How's it going, everyone? Ghost here, back with another Valorant Agent guide. Yes, I'm a bit late to this, but I had fun playing Harper, so I got kind of distracted. But anyway, this guide is obviously about Harper, the newest Valorant agent, and without any further ado, let's just get into it.
I'll get that spooky ghost boy.
Alright, so Harper's first ability is called Cascade, which costs 150 credits. What Cascade does is that you push a wave of water in a direction seen on the minimap here. So you just left click, push, and it goes until it reaches the end of its line. So it just keeps going until it hits that end at the area. If you want it to end closer than that, then you just reactivate your ability. So whatever your ability activation key is, you just click it again once it's deployed. So I'll send it and then reactivate, and it stops wherever I reactivate it. And this is a good wall, but it doesn't last long. It's basically good for pushing onto sites as attacking or retakes as defending. So if I want to come out here, I can send my wave, block it here, and then I have a clear run here onto site, well, back site. If enemies jump through the wave, or allies, it slows them down. So I jump through, you can see down there it says I'm slowed for a short amount of time. Doesn't really do much, it's more just to block view, I guess, but it can be used to get the upper hand when enemies try and push through. It slows down their movement just slightly so you can get the headshot a bit quicker or easier. Alright, so Harper's second ability is called Cove, which costs 350 credits. So what it does when you activate it, you pull out an orb, and you can either underarm throw it by right clicking or overarm throw it by right clicking. So overarm throw, left click. I think I got that mixed around, but that doesn't matter. And then right click, underarm throw. And it basically just creates a smoke orb that lasts for a while. And it also has a temporary shield around it, so it blocks damage until it gets destroyed like that. Alright, so I'm going to place down my Cove here, my orb, and I'm going to get the Viper to shoot at me while I stand inside the orb, and then I'll show you that I don't take damage until the thing breaks. So I'm going to drop my orb down here, and then the Viper is going to shoot at me. And as you saw there, I don't get killed until the orb shield breaks. But when the orb shield does break, the cover smoke still remains, so you are basically still covered until the orb runs out, but the shield can be destroyed before the thing disappears.
Spike down B.
Oh my god, Harper, you're cracked.
Amateurs.
Alright, now Harper's signature ability is called High Tide. It's basically a Viper wall. So I pull it out and I deploy it. So if I just normal left click, it creates like a wall that goes pretty far distance, which is pretty good. And it also slows enemies or allies when you jump through it. So temporarily slows them for few seconds, well, not even a few seconds, like a millisecond. And the better thing with Harper's wall is that he can curve it too. Instead of Viper's wall just going straight, it can curve. But like Viper's wall, it can also go through objects. Like if I wanted to go through this wall here, I just send it and it just goes straight through the wall. So like Viper's wall, it goes through stuff, but unlike Viper's wall, I can curve it. So if I want to cover this entrance and that entrance over there, I can go like that. And that's not the best wall, but it still curves it. So I can make it cover a large area, which is good on Pearl, because if I want to cover Heaven, entrance, and that part, I can just send my wall around like that. And it's covered, but I'll have to send it high if I want it to cover Heaven. So wherever the crosshair goes is where it's going to cover. So basically the first one I didn't cover heaven because my crosshair was below the surface. So if I wanted to cover heaven, I'll do a higher crosshair placement. So that covers heaven up there, so they can't see there, and it still covers entrance here, entrance there, and if I curved it a bit more, it would cover this as well. But yeah, I really like Harper'S wall ability. It's very useful since he doesn't have that many useful smoke. I mean, like, they are useful smokes, but with his this wall, it doesn't last very long, so it's basically for a quick push. With this, I prefer to use it for planting, so you have a safe plant, so people can't just like pre-fire your default spot. So if someone plants here, they can't just like shoot the box and kill you. They have to get through the orb, and by the time you plant, the orb is destroyed. Hopefully, or not hopefully, but like most likely. Okay, now Harper'S ultimate ability is called Reckoning, and it costs 7 ult points. What I think they're going to do is probably nerf Harper'S ult, because it covers a really big area. Like, all of this area is covered here. So what you do is, you can do it for retakes, you can do it for defensive reasons, you can do it for offensive reasons, whatever reason suits you though. But what you do, you activate it, and it creates a ring of like water stuff, and it concusses enemies that are in it. Doesn't concuss teammates, but it concusses enemies if they don't move. So the whole idea of his ult is to get people to move away from the site, hopefully. If they want, they can just sit in there and get concussed, but they can also dodge it. So I'm going to use my ult, and if the enemy can run away from the blast radius, then they won't get concussed. So they can move away from the sides and not get concussed. It follows them, so it's not random. It looks like it tries and finds where the person is, so it's not random. It targets the enemies, which is also good for intel, because if someone's around a corner, you can see it through a corner. So I'm going to move the Viper closer to this wall, and then I'm going to ult here. I can see through the wall that it concusses someone in this area. So then I know someone is going to be around this corner. And if they're concussed, I have the advantage, because they would be obviously concussed with slow fire rate, slow movement, and inaccurate fire shots. Gunshots, same thing. Alright, now I'm just going to talk about a few strats I do with Harper on Pearl, because Harper works best on Pearl in my opinion, just because he has like a good use of smokes and a large area for his ult, so a lot of open areas for his ult to be used in. I like to push up around here if I'm attacking onto B site. I like to push up around here and then throw my ult down, so I mean my signature ability. So I'll throw it down like that, and then I'll push onto site, so that's all covered. Heaven you can't see unless they get the little peak there. If you want, you can throw it a little bit closer so it covers a bit more, so I'll try and do a better one. You can also see on the mini-map how you're curving the thing, so that would be a better wall in my opinion. And then I throw my thing down here, stop it at this entrance here, so everything is covered pretty much. If I want, I can throw my orb down here, plant for long, or if not, I can just plant default here and save my orb for whatever reason else. The good thing about his orb too is once it breaks, so it can break automatically, you have a millisecond before the normal water disappears, where you can shoot through it. I've trialed Harper on a bunch of different maps. I've seen how he works best in each different scenario, except for Split, because they haven't returned Split to matchmaking pool, which sucks. But anyway, I figured Pearl was best for Harper. So when I attack on a site, this is probably the best site to attack with Harper, because you can just use his signature ability for one thing. You just smoke. That was a kind of a shit smoke. I'll just do that again, but you can smoke so it curves around, so you can smoke that, and dugout. So it covers all the entrances pretty much, which is really handy, and all you have to do is check that unless they dare push the smoke. So let's just do a better one. Like that. So that's covered. This is covered. this is covered. If you want to push, you can check that without having to worry about your back, and then you can peek out there. And then you can plant default if you want, or since everything's covered, you can plant a little bit exposed. Then you have more options of where to defend the spike from. If you do want to push out, I would suggest pushing out from dugout here, using your Cascade wall, pushing so you can check as you run with the thing, and then you can either stop it before it like exposes this area, so you can quickly check this, or you can just let it go and just hold this area. For defense, I like to save my orb, because when I'm defusing the spike, I just place the orb on the spike and then defuse it, and while the enemies are shooting at my orb, I have a few seconds where I'm not taking damage, and then hopefully that is enough time for me to defuse the spike.
Don't be greedy, get hop. Nice.
Let's go. Third time's a charm.
Oh, Harbor.
But yeah, Harper's a pretty easy agent to understand. Yeah, he's not too difficult. He does have 2 of these cascades. He originally had 1, but most recent times Valorant has decided to give him 2, which I think is a pretty good idea, because you can utilize it a bit more. You can push on to sight if you want, so you can use this to push on and then block that, and then you can use it to even push further, so like this one here I said before. So yeah, really good that he has 2 now, because 1 was a bit, I don't know, 1 just didn't really do much for it. I didn't really use his cascade much besides retakes and pushing onto sight, if we didn't have like enough smokes. Or if we didn't have flashes or anything, I'd use that to push onto sight. But yeah, it's really good that he has 2 now, so I can throw my wall down onto B, block it there, and then I can also block this area if I want. So people camping here won't be able to see this area. But yeah, that's the Harbor guide. It's a pretty short guide, pretty simple. Harbor's a pretty simple agent to understand, nothing too complicated with his abilities. Everything's straightforward, which I really like. Kind of helps new players as well. If you're just getting into Valorant and you want to find an agent to unlock, I suggest probably getting Harbor. But I hope you enjoyed this guide. I hope you learned something from it. I hope you found it useful. And if you did, leave a like and subscribe as well, because that is also a nice thing to do. And I've got a few other games in the works as well. I got Prey being edited while I'm editing Prey, the game, because that was a fun game to do. I'm also doing Abduction, which is like a puzzle solving game, and then I also got We Were Here. So I've got a few games, non-Valorant based, but I've also got some montages coming up, so subscribe for those. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.